Hi, this is May.
And I'm Joy.
Welcome to the QWERTY Writing Life Podcast, where we have candid chats about our creative lives.
May and I are friends, writers, and creatives who want to share our endeavors out loud.
On this podcast, we're here to encourage each other, and you too,
and share tools we've discovered or made up.
So you can follow your passions with a little support. So grab your tea
or your coffee,
and let's get started. Hello, everyone. It is another week, and we are so thankful that you are with us again today. And we are going to be talking about our goals for the 2020 year. And last week, we talked about how to set really good goals. And Joy broke it down for us. She gave us this really whimsical, fun way of doing it. There's this cool PDF that goes along with it. If you are interested in that, we will talk about that at the end of the podcast. But we have actually worked through her program for setting goals, and we're going to share that with you. But first, we are going to talk about our creative weeks. So, Joy, what did you do?
So, I worked on this fun little PDF for you guys, which I had a lot of fun doing, and all of the images in it my son actually drew. So, I asked him if he would draw a dragon and a Kochi, which, if you tuned in last week, you know that that's a fairy cat, and a Pixie. I asked him if he would draw those three things, and he got really excited about it, and he asked, his first question was, are you going to pay me? And so I told him yes. So he is now a paid artist, and he drew these for us, and so I got to include those, scan them in, put them on the computer, and make these fun little PDFs that I hope will just add a little fun and whimsy to the whole goal setting process for you guys. So that's what I did. So what about you, May?
I have the really excellent opportunity to work at a university, which means that I get some time off during the Christmas break to stay at home with my kids. So this is the only time of the year where I am able to stay consecutive days at home with the kiddos and get to play around with them, which is always a creative endeavor, if you ask me. So we've had a few setbacks. We've had strep throat, and now we've got a fever virus going on, but we've also had a lot of fun along the way too. And just opening up all of the Christmas presents and getting them out and showing them how to play with them. My son got this really cool tracer projector thing, so he's been all about drawing. And my other, both of my kids got cameras for Christmas, so cameras and videos, and so pictures everywhere. They have been playing with the filters and really developing an eye for photography, which is coming natural. It's not anything to do with me or my husband. They're just taking pictures and they see what they like and what they don't like. And guys, I'm a little impressed. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do with a little camera. And so we have been playing around like that, and then we made goals this week, and that was a lot of fun. It took me a really long time to do that, to sort through all of the things that I wanted to do, and then figure out if this was the year to do them. That was a big deal. And in the middle of all of that, I'm reading this outlining book because I really want to perfect my outlining skills this year, and had a huge breakthrough on a book in a series that I'm writing. So yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a really good week.
It's been a good week. Wow, this has been really incredible week. All right, so guys, we're talking about goals, right? So that is, last week what we did was, like May said, I kind of broke down some suggestions of how you guys can maybe reimagine the way that you set goals for yourselves. And first of all, they need to be attainable. You need to also realize that a lot of times when we write out our lists of goals, and you're going to see this when May and I share ours, that what we write down are actually what I like to call the dragon goals. They're these really big things like publish a book. Okay, that sounds great, but that can be really overwhelming. there are a lot of other smaller goals, like our Kachi goals and our little itsy bitsy pixie goals that have to come first to lead up to attaining those dragon goals. And so that's really what we broke down last week. As May mentioned, I've got this PDF for you guys that I'm really excited about. All you have to do is just send one of us a message, send us an email. The email address is in the show notes and we'll mention it later, and just say, hey, I want that. Okay, and I will send it your way happily. Last week also, we gave you guys a pretty intense challenge, right? Okay, we're going to give you the same one today. So if you thought that if you just didn't do it last week, you got out of it, you're wrong. And if you did do it last week, we're very proud of you, but we have an added step for you. So we'll get to that later. But you'll also find that this challenge has been put out in kind of a journal style in the PDF too. So it'll kind of help you just have these sheets that you can use to go through each one of the steps that we gave you. There were 3 steps last week. So those are some of the things that you will find. And now we are going to show you some goals in action. Okay, so May is going to get us started and she's going to share with us, and I cannot wait, what her goals are for this year. And remember, these are kind of the big ones. These are just kind of like the first things that you would jot down when you're thinking, okay, what are my goals?
Yes, absolutely. So, and I just talked about my full-time job, and so you'll notice that mine might not be as plentiful as some others, but this kind of does give you hopefully a little bit of leeway to say, I'm going to set this, this like baseline of goals, and anything else that I get done on top of that is so gravy. So I think that that's a cool place to be too. Like if you hit these baselines and you're good. So I have some pretty cool dragon goals in place. So I've talked about this poetry and art project that I've been doing, and this year I've been practicing on my alcohol ink and really trying to get that poetry all set up. But this year it's time to put it out in the world. So I want to get at least the 4 seasons done. So a set of each season when the season starts. So I have 4 sets of I think it's 12 in a pack of postcards where it is art on the front and then there's poetry, and it's going to be great. So that's dragon goal number 1. And then dragon goal number 2 is to do the audiobook for our critique partner book. And that, of course, is with my dear friend Joy. So I will need her vocal talents as well as time in order to complete this dragon goal. And sometimes we try not to put a big goal out that you're not able to control singularly. But this is a little bit different because we do have this partnership between us with the QWERTY Writing Life. But I do count this as one of my dragon goals because it would just be so dadgum cool to have an audiobook out for the CP book.
I agree.
I also would like to publish a poetry book in August, so that will be in the works, and I've got all of that stuff on the calendar already about when I'm going to work on it, when it's going to be edited, when I'm going to do artwork for it, because I want to do artwork for it. And I just love these whole experience books, and poetry really lends itself, I think, to the whole experience. I would like to query all the words, and I would also like to outline the 2 books that go after all the words. And one of my really big goals in this year is to really streamline my outlining process. I wanna figure out what works with my creative bright brain, and I wanna try to find the best way to produce books, good books, well thought out, deep books, in the most efficient way. So I want to outline those 2, and also this is like a bonus goal.
It's like bottom of the bag fries, right?
Yeah. Well, they're like extra greasy and soft, and so they're just really yummy. So this would be really yummy to be able to accomplish. But we had like this family time, and did anybody get like the box of snowballs where you could have a snowball fight? Okay,
No.
so somebody it was my cousin Amy got the boys this box of snowballs. So we had just this really really awesome fun organic snowball fight on our back porch. It was raining, it was hot, y'all. In Mississippi it was like 70 something degrees during Christmas time, and so it was all muggy and gross, and we're all sweaty and stuff playing with these, like just pounding each other with these snowballs. The boys are having a blast. They like make this fort out of pillows and blankets. Anyway, while I was in the middle of that snowball fight, I had this idea for a Christmas novella, guys, and I just really want to write it.
Oh, I love that.
So that would be the bonus if I could somehow get like an ebook of the Christmas novella that I have in my head out for Christmas time. That would be awesome. So I want to do those things, and yeah, as if that's not enough.
I know. I'm like, how are you going to do all this? Plus the full
I
time
don't
job
know yet.
and the kids.
Just kidding. I have a plan. Whether it works or not, we'll see. But
There we go. Well, like we talked about last week, sometimes these plans and these goals you kind of have to adjust as you go. So there you go. There's always room for adjusting and altering the plan. So you're not set in stone. You're not chiseling anything into a rock here.
exactly.
All right, so here are some of my goals for this year. And once again, these are kind of the big overall, just, slap it down on paper. This is what I'd like to get to. I have plans to publish a novella, which will be next month, and then short story collection in September. We also have the audiobook and another little piece to the Finders Keepers puzzle that we'll just keep a secret for now, but fingers crossed. That is planned for this year, so that is definitely a goal. To continue and expand the QWERTY Writing Life into Season 2. Okay, so there's that as well. All right, and then streamline my blog writing. Okay, so I've already started this with thinking through having a particular day to devote to this, and I've been working toward this for a couple of years now, trying to get to where I only take a few days out of the month to actually write all of my blogs, as opposed to doing it every week. Like maybe I only use like 2 or 3 days out of the month to get it all done.
Project blocking.
Yes, exactly. That is where my whole lovely little blocks come into play. It's so much fun. Anyway, as a kid, I did love to play with blocks. It totally makes sense now. So I also would like to aim for better consistency in my online presence. And I mean social media, newsletter, blog. So that's what I mean by online presence. And I want to do this through better planning and time blocking yet again. All right, so I've already actually started on some of these things. So I've done some little Pixie goals to some of these bigger things. Like with this one, I've already planned out my social media focus by day for both my author brand and my press brand. So I know what my topics are going to be that I'm putting out each day of the week. And just knowing that ahead of time is a huge help. And I learned that last year just with my author stuff. So be continuing on that stuff. And then finally, begin work on Elspeth's series. All right, and now this is going to bring us into actually breaking down a dragon goal, because if you want to talk about dragon goals, this is the Hungarian hornback, or whatever it was called, whatever the dragon that Harry got, in his Triwizard Tournament challenge, that really big dragon. So some of you guys may remember that I had a fantasy short story published in the Crux Anthology that came out last year. And this is a little tiny taste of what is going to be a larger fantasy series. And it's something that has been growing in my mind and my heart for a few years now. I was actually thinking back on it, and it was at our first QWERTY retreat where I really started the major brainstorming and world building for this, and that was, I think, 2016. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep, Christmas 2016.
There you go. So this year, I'm actually going to get to start writing the books, and I could not be more excited. So what this looks like, all right, so the big goal obviously is this is going to be more than one book. At this point, I can't tell how many books it's going to be because I haven't gone through the outlining process and all of that. So this is a big, big goal. Things that I've already done, that initial brainstorming and world building that I talked about, where I just kind of thought through some of the main themes, some of the main plot points. I know my main character. I know where she's going. I know her purpose. I know a lot of the surrounding characters. I know what their purposes are going to be in regards to that bigger purpose of hers. Yeah, so all of those kinds of things. I wrote A Leaverell Awakened. That was the short story that came out in the Crux anthology. I've also been writing the Tales of the Fairy Shepherd. So those short stories that I was writing monthly, most of those are related to this world. So even though I haven't been able to sit down and actually work on the book yet, I've been dipping my toes in and learning more about the world by writing these shorter stories, which has been so wonderful. I've also begun developing a language and the world, the characters, the storylines, like all of this kind of stuff, understanding the magic, the way that it works in this world, understanding how it relates to, how the fantasy part relates to more realistic world that we live in. All right, so those are the things I've already done. So taking down a level to our Kachi goals. Okay, so these are our fairy cats, which are a little bit smaller, obviously, than dragons. Okay, but not the smallest yet. So we're taking it down one level. All right, I will begin outlining in July. From there, I will begin action planning at the end of that month. Okay, so to me, what that means is once I've kind of outlined the entire story, I'll actually put out an action plan where I say, okay, I'm going to draft this, and in these months, I'm going to then revise here. I also have a goal of wanting to write all of the books, however many they end up being, before I actually publish any of them. Okay, so this is all going to be going on together. More outlining, the drafting. There we go. The first draft will be July and August of this year. So I've given myself a pretty tight deadline for a first draft, but I feel like it's doable. I feel like I know that I can do it as long as I've prepared school already before I get started with my drafting, because we're going to need to start school right after I finish the first draft. So I need to be completely prepared, have that all ready to go, so that that's not hanging over my head, so that during July and August, I will be focusing on this first draft. So then I'll do more outlining and action planning and deadline setting and all of that kind of stuff. And then from there, I've got more steps, which I've already kind of mentioned, so I'm not going to go into all that. All right, so let's bring it down to the Pixie goals, okay? Plan out and put these things on the calendar. And guess what? I've already done that. So check. I get to check one thing off. I already know my dates for these things, okay? And then I'm going to pull all the research and the brainstorming and the stories and everything that I've done so far. I've got to pull all of those pieces together because they're all over the place, organize them, give all of it a good read through, make sure that I'm fully grasping what I've done so far, make sure that I know and understand where I'm going with the world itself. Continuing those monthly short stories, which I mentioned. Okay, so this is going to continue to help me dip my toes in. And then I'm also planning on doing some language building and world building research, including, thanks to May's suggestion, Holly Lyle has a class on language creating. And it's not very long. It's only like $10. And so I'm planning on doing that just to kind of get something to see how other people do that. And I've also been saving a lot of things about language building and world building. And I'll be going through each of those and kind of learning from what other people have done. So there we go. Brings it all the way down to Pixie goals.
Girl, you just made me tired.
Oh, I'm just invigorated and ready to go.
No, actually, it is whenever these are projects of your heart, it really does kind of get you all excited and ready to just revved up and ready to go. That's the way that I felt whenever I was actually planning out all of these things. I put stuff on the calendar and it was just, oh, I just wanted to get going. And actually I did start doing some things and it was good. And I put a lot of the stuff that I do because I have this energy at the beginning of the year because it's all new and fresh and all of that stuff. I do put a lot of stuff in the beginning of the year and maybe taper it down toward the end. So if something rolls over into another month or something like that, there's a very good chance that I can catch up by the end of the year. Or I know that it's going to be a little bit more crazy with school and with family and holidays and things like that as the year progresses. So if I can get a lot done in the months that don't have those responsibilities, then I can feel a little bit better about life. So what I'm going to break down, since Joy broke down a writing goal, dragon goal, I'm going to break down a poetry and art and postcards goals. My poetry and art project is postcards. I want to do those postcard sets. So, and I'm working with somebody as well. But I just really want to get a little bit more momentum on that. So I'm making deadlines and things like that. And I'm also going to plan, check and make sure that these are all good with her. But let's assume that these are all good with the person with whom I'm working, and just talk to you a little bit about that. So with my dragon goal of poetry and postcards, I would like to do at least 4 sets, one for each season, and I have all of the beginning of the season dates written down, so I want to make sure that I get them out before the beginning of the season. And here's a few things that I need to do as far as Kachi goals. So I will need to research and set up an online store. I will need to research and find out my scanning options. Do I need to buy a scanner? Is there a scanner available in the art department at the school I work at? I don't know. We're going to find out. I will also need to research local stores and craft markets that I might be able to go to and sell these things, which could be fun. I will also need to find a wholesale printer that I can have some in my hands in order to take to the local stores and the craft markets, etc. I will need to figure out how this is going to affect my taxes. So who knows about that? I'm not a huge numbers person, but I'm not a huge numbers person, but I feel like I need to know these things if I'm going to be a business person. So I'll figure it out. It's going to be great. If I have to talk to a tax person, I will do that. And then I actually have to make the art and produce the poetry with my partner. So I broke it down, and I'll give you an example of one season's Pixie goals. And so from February the 17th through the 20th, I will be making the alcohol ink prints of on Yupo paper of the season and finalizing any kind of poetry, that sort of thing, to go along with it. On March the 9th, in that week, I will be finalizing the scans, and I will have an online store set up, and I will have my printer all ready and all of those things, and I'll make sure that all of that stuff is working in order to have a release on March the 16th. So times 3 other seasons, and that's what my Pixie goals look like for that particular project.
That's wonderful. I'm so excited about this project. It's going to be amazing.
I'm really glad that it kind of waited because I've been getting a lot better with my skills in this medium. So it's going to be good, I think.
That's great. So I think that hopefully you will have seen through all of the stuff that we just kind of have thrown out at you guys that when we set these goals and we break them down, we're looking at our calendars, we're considering our family obligations, our work obligations, all of the other things that go on around our lives, and working that all together to put actual dates to each one of these. I know I didn't get quite as specific with the exact days, but I have, these are my set days to do this part of this Pixie goal. Like it gets very specific. And the more specific you get, the better it's going to be, the more you're going to be able to stick to it, all of those kind of things. So, and hopefully the PDF will help you guys with that, because it kind of breaks down and gives you ways to put each of those things onto paper so that you can see it and then go from there.
And those, the monthly block calendars really help me out too, in order to see exactly what I'm doing on what day. I go ahead and put all of the school holiday breaks in there. I go ahead and put anything that I know that is going to be a tough time in there. Commencement ceremonies and programs, and husband goes out of town sometimes with his work and that sort of thing. I go ahead and put all that stuff on the calendar, and then I fill in the gaps. And sometimes and I have to do it in multiple ways. So that's one visual way that I do it. And then I also have to do it quarterly. So this is an example where I have 4 different rows of 3 months, and I see like quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and I can see what I'm doing. So I have to visually see it like that. And then another way that I did it was through different aspects of my life. So I have this postcard project, and then I've got the QWERTY project, and then I got my author book projects, and then I have a whole personal column. So I have different columns of different things for different months. But if I don't, and there's got to be a better way for that, but I have to see it in multiple ways in order to make sure that it's going to work properly. And then whenever I get it like set up really well on my monthly calendars, I will move that information to my weekly sheets that I have for my planner.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you showed all that, because I have something similar. Like I have all these different ways to do it. It usually ends up starting with a list for me, just, of, okay, this is just everything that's got to get done. Then we go to the calendar, we pull those dates, we get all those things like you said. So yeah. And I think that every person is going to be different with how it works for you and what you need to do to get all this together. But hopefully, like through seeing what we do and these sheets that we've got, they'll at least give you a starting point if you're not really sure what to do on your own. If this isn't something that maybe you've done before, just having these examples as kind of a way to launch yourself into this.
So let's go ahead and move into the
QWERTY challenge. Oh, the big announcement. The big announcement. I forgot about the big announcement. So yes, very soon, hopefully in the next episode, that's the plan anyway, you guys are going to get to sit in on a chat that we're going to have with none other than Joanna Penn of The Creative Pen. We are so excited, guys. We cannot wait to talk with her, and she's going to be talking about the evolution of her creativity. Okay, so if you guys know who she is, she has been in this business for a while. She's a huge mentor for us. She has done so much for the indie author world, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about how her creativity has changed over the years, what things are the same, what things are different, what she's learned about herself and about her creativity over time. So we cannot wait to share that with you guys.
And just a reminder, if you want to use these templates that Joy and her son Thad worked out for you guys, then just pop us a DM anywhere, any social media you find us in, or you can send us an email in the show notes below, editorial@logosandmythospress.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And now you're going to recap our QWERTY challenge.
Yes, absolutely. So our QWERTY challenge for this week, we are going a little bit easy on you this week by giving you the same 3-part challenge as last week. So if you didn't quite make it to your goals this past week, we are encouraging you to pick that up this week. And if you did make it to your goals last week, why don't you go ahead and look over those again and make sure that you have all of those teeny tiny pixie steps that you need in order to get to your Kachi goals, in order to get to your dragon goals, and just really solidify that you've got a good plan ahead of you. Now, we also want to hear how it went. So let us know, and let us know if there's something that you do that you think we would benefit from, because we're all about sharing the information around here. And if you've got something good, we want to know about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you don't know how to write out your goals, here's the steps that we gave you last week. Number 1, write out your goals for 2020. Just kidding. We're going to tell you how to do that. So what do you need to accomplish? What do you want to work toward? Start with something big, because those are the things that are going to come probably into your mind first. Something big, like I want to write a book. So that could be a dragon goal. And then narrow it down in order to be bite-sized, edible segments that you can work toward in order to obtain that big dragon goal. Then you're going to order them. I forgot about that. You're going to order those goals, question their attainability, and schedule them on your calendar with deadlines. Secondly, you are going to reflect on your why. Why in the world are we doing all of this craziness whenever life is already chaotic as it is? Because it feeds us, it feeds our passions, and it feeds our creativity, it feeds our mental capacity, and we are better people to our families and to our friends whenever we have taken this time to make something cool. That's part of my why. What's your why? So figure that out and write it down on that really cool segment that Joy has in that PDF. You can cut out the parts of it and tape it onto your wall or your computer, or put it in a notebook that you open every day, in your planner, whatever you need to do in order to see it and remember why we're doing this craziness to begin with. Then we are going to identify your tribe, and that's number 3. So who are your people? Do you have family members who are really supportive of you, who want you to obtain anything that you want to go after, whether it's creative or professional or personal? Doesn't matter. Those supportive people you want in your life, in your corner. Your friends, same situation. They don't have to be creatives, but if they are, wow, that's really helpful because they know the struggle that you're going through. Find your people who you can share that with, and also who can hold you accountable to your dragon, Kachi, and Pixie goals this year.
Perfect. Well said. So, good luck this week, guys. We're super excited about 2020, about your goals for this year, and we just hope that you have an amazing year. And we're right here if you guys have any questions, if you need anything, or if you want that PDF, just let us know. Go and create something and have an amazing week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening until the end.
Seriously, you're a trooper.
Do you think QWERTY Writing Life is the bomb?
May, you just said the bomb.
Don't you censor me.
If you think QWERTY Writing Life rocks ice for real,
Oh my word.
please rate, review, and share us with others.
If you have questions about this week's episode or want to start a conversation, you can reach us by visiting QWERTYWritingLife.podbean.com.
We'll be back next week with more candid chats for you.